Hey there. So it's been a few days. Do you have an update on Rizzo and what he's able to do and his status?
Yeah, no, nothing yet. He's still in just treating it, and we're not testing anything yet, at least for a couple more days. So, he's been in here already for a couple hours treating it, and so nothing yet.
With that being said, I know Rice got some at-bats on Sunday. What do you want to see from him these next few days?
Yeah, I mean, these are important days for us, obviously going out and winning our division and earning a bye gives us that ability to, that rest of a long season. But, these are important days for us where, I want our guys walking in with an edge. There's a lot to accomplish. There's a lot to get done. And Benny will be in that mix. We'll have a couple days where we'll have kind of simulated game situations tomorrow and the next day. And he'll be certainly right in the middle of that. And as will most of our guys.
To the left, Brian.
How are you looking at left field? Have you decided who'll start game one?
Not yet. We'll let the week unfold. I have thoughts in my mind, but we'll let that unfold.
And how do you evaluate what you saw from Jason in September?
Obviously had some hiccups in the outfield. Didn't light up the stat line from an offensive standpoint, but felt like he was having quality at bats still, and certainly know what he's capable of on both sides of the ball, for that matter, and the speed component he brings to the table. So I feel like he's ready to go, and whatever way we go, he's going to play a big part.
Brendan, to the right.
What are you weighing in terms of your Game 3 starter?
I don't know. Just I want everyone to kind of weigh in and certainly have their opinions and thoughts heard. And again, I think it's a really good decision we have in front of us. I feel like whichever way we end up going, it's going to be a good choice. And and that said, both guys, Clark and Luis, could play a role in the days ahead out of the pen in a situation. So we'll continue to work through that this week. We don't have to make that call yet. But again, I feel like both guys bring a lot to the table.
That was going to be my follow-up. Would it be asking Luis too much to attempt to come out of the bullpen this time of year, having never done it before, having done all he's done this season?
It's that time of year, it's all hands on deck. We're trying to win a world championship. So that's where the guys' focus will lie, and we'll do our best to put our guys in the best spots.
Ron.
Looking back at Aaron in the postseason 2 years ago, no matter how good he is at focusing and compartmentalizing, did the hoopla and everything around the pursuit of 61, do you think, wear him down at any point for that?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, every season's different. He was probably beat up there a little bit at the end, but we got that little break too. So, anytime, hitting is just that. I mean, it's day to day. The best of the best, as I say, walk back to the dugout a lot. So the reality is I feel like he's in a really good frame of mind right now. I feel like he's fairly healthy right now. I think all of them are hopefully benefit from a couple days to kind of recharge and hopefully get us in the best physical position possible. But he'll be ready to roll. And he's so mentally tough that I don't think anything's going to creep in and affect what he does between the lines.
And you alluded to this Friday, how it was unusual. You're so used to writing 2-3 in your lineup every day.
Mm-hmm.
Any points during the season you just marveled at the situation you're in, being able to do that, and almost like Ruth and Gehrig and Mantle and Maris? Yeah,
there were a couple times, especially because we've had our share of seasons, even really good seasons, where we've been beat up a little bit, and to be able to just almost as a rule every night, usually I send the lineup out to Brad. We'll talk about it, and I send it to him before I before I take off from the stadium to send it out, it was pretty awesome just being able to, as a rule, Soto and Judge were 2-3, however many times it ended up being, probably close to 160 times. I tried not to take that for granted, especially getting to watch what we were watching all year by those two. But definitely, obviously, a major key to our success in the position we're in right now.
Zach and Greg.
If Rizzo can't go, are you leaning towards Rice, or is it?
I think we'll just figure it out. I think if Riz can't go in the first series, I think we'll look at everything here in these next few days, and maybe a situation where you're going to lean on everyone anyway in different spots in the biggest moments. Maybe it's this guy starting, this guy coming in a scenario, or a lot of different scenarios. So those will be the things we kind of work through this week, and then as the division series unfolds.
Where were we, Greg? All right.
Aside from the decision on Rizzo, do you feel like the roster is mostly set at this point, or are there still spots up for grabs?
No, I think there's probably a couple spots that we're, considering how many pitchers do we end up going with, who are the last couple of pitchers, maybe even a case for the last guy on the bench, depending on how many position players we go. So we'll talk through those final couple of spots and which way we go and how we divvy up pitchers and position players, probably all the way till Thursday and Friday.
And then just as a fan of the game, but also knowing Carlos Mendoza, just what was yesterday like watching that game and seeing him be able to get?
Yeah, it was great. I talked to him, when he was in Milwaukee, and we texted with each other after the game before they were heading back to Milwaukee. So yeah, pretty fired up for Carlos. He's obviously done an awesome job with them, and they've had a really strong season after a really difficult start to the season. So to be able to get in, I know he was very excited, and obviously their team.
Greg, can you pass it behind you? Chris and Gary.
What's the key to keeping that mental edge that you mentioned while also making the most of this time off?
Yeah, definitely want to strike that balance. Again, that's something we talk about a lot, going back to the first day of spring training, making sure we walk in those doors with an edge to us every day, and want to make sure that through these few days of preparation that we have that level of edge too. Again, we'll get some simulated reps where guys are getting on the field, regular bats. We'll go through some fundamental things, different fundamentals each day, but understanding that these are important days for us to make sure we're prepared, ready, tight in that room. So we'll kind of hammer that with these guys, but that's also who they are too. They know what's at stake, and they know where we are in the season and what we have an opportunity to do. So confident we'll be focused here and hopefully have a good few days leading into Saturday.
Chris and Gary.
How do you view Stroman fitting into the pitching plans this round?
Yeah, we'll see. Again, those are things we'll talk through, and haven't decided one way or the other on that yet either.
Your bullpen's had some highs, lows throughout the season. It's gone through a couple of transformations, a lot of names. How do you view this current iteration going into the postseason?
Yeah, I'm excited about them. Again, I feel like a lot of them are throwing the ball really well. Hopefully we have a good week with Jake Cousins, getting him back in the mix because of the important role that he's played with us. I feel good about where he's at and how he's doing. So I think I've said this a lot, but I do feel like they complement each other well down there, with some different skill sets, some different attributes, that hopefully serves us well moving forward, and hopefully a lot of them can continue to throw the ball the way they are right now. But I'm excited about this group.
Is Jake still on track for game one?
Yeah, he's scheduled for a bullpen tomorrow, and then he'll be live, I believe, Thursday.
Bill, middle.
What has you've talked about the work of Oswaldo Cabrera? Could you talk about the job he's done off the bench, and what are your plans for him during the series?
Yeah, I think he had around 300 at bats this year, and just feel like the second half, especially, I feel like he's become a little bit better of a hitter. Especially left-handed. But he's just such a good teammate and such a good pro. Like you watch him work on a daily basis and watch him making sure he's staying sharp with his ground balls. First base has become a little more new to him this year. He's gotten a lot of work over there, though, but he bounces around, was kind of a regular third baseman for a time for us. He's played a little short. You'll watch him during BP. He'll jump out to the outfield and make sure he's getting his live reps out there. And even though, I haven't used him much in the outfield this year like I have in some past years, he's just such a good teammate, such a good pro, loves the game, loves the preparation of it. And I just, he's that kind of that safety net you have over there all the time because he can fill so many roles, especially as the game unfolds. He covers you so many spots. And he gets in there and he seems to do something. So he's I think every team, especially nowadays, you're seeing more and more teams have that versatility. He certainly provides that versatility for us off the bench.
Ryan and Peter.
Once Luke Weaver took over the closer's role there, what did you learn about him?
I don't know. I mean, a lot's been made of his reactions, the intensity, the release of emotion after a big out to end an inning or something. He's definitely performed well in the biggest moments of the regular season so far. He's a better pitcher than he's probably ever been in his life, and that's a credit to him for some of the adjustments he's made and how he's embraced going to the bullpen. But he's had an outstanding season, and whatever role that I've put him in, he's flourished, and he likes, like a lot of our guys do, he likes the competition and he likes the action. So we're about to get into some.
You look at him as your ninth inning guy?
We'll see. I mean, he might be in the biggest moment in a big spot in the seventh, and I can't get him to the ninth. So I would expect him to hopefully close out some games for us, but he could find himself in a different inning if it calls for it. So he's definitely one of the best we got down there, and a guy that, obviously I trust a lot.
Peter.
Understanding that these are the types of games, big reason why you got Juan Soto. Just what are you most looking forward to seeing from him in his first season, postseason with you guys?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, he's so ingrained with us now, and I just want to make sure he's in, getting his proper work in this week in the right frame of mind, which I'm confident he will be, and then hopefully he goes out and continues to impact us like he has during the regular season. But I know we're lucky to have him.
Eric, to the right.
I don't expect you to answer this publicly, but do you have a rooting interest in that Royals-Orioles series?
Eric, you always answer the question before you ask the question.
I've covered you 7 years.
I know. So I'm just going to answer. No, I really don't. I'm always careful what you wish for. I tell that to coaches all the time. Like, we're watching a game, and we may be in June watching a game, and you're watching a division rival play another team, and you're pulling for the other team. I'm like, hey, careful for what you wish for. That team may knock us out, and so I'm always just like, let it play out. We'll prepare as best we can for whoever comes our way, and know that anyone in the playoffs right now is going to be a challenge. I think everyone would acknowledge all the teams that have gotten in are certainly capable of going on a run, including us, and looking forward to that challenge. So I always careful what you wish for.
And then completely unrelated, just from your connections and your dad's connections in Philadelphia, how many interactions as a kid or just over the years did you have with Pete Rose?
A lot. I texted with Junior last night. It was that hit hard last night. Pete was, he came to Philly in '79. Obviously, won the World Series in '80. My brother and Junior were the same age, so they were, my brother was staying over at his house all the time, and we've stayed close throughout the years. Pete, came back junior and played in the minor leagues. I played with him a little bit. I played with him when he got called up for his stint in the big leagues. Still in touch with him over the years. Still even in touch with Pete every now and then. I would talk to him probably once or twice a year. So a sad day for baseball, of course, but for me personally, because, even going back to my childhood, he was an important figure for my family.
John, second row.
You mentioned before that everyone knows what's at stake right now. For a lot of the guys, this is their first postseason experience, knowing that the goal, of course, is to treat it like another game. From your experience, how different is it from a regular game, and how do you keep yourself, and how do you teach somebody maybe how to keep themselves in that space where it's a regular game?
Yeah. You try and kind of prepare for that all year, and you try and treat any game you're in, like it's your last, like it's a playoff game. And hopefully those repetitions, that muscle memory serves you well going into postseason, even for somebody without a lot of experience. I think the biggest thing, obviously every play is so important and so scrutinized. And the biggest thing for me is, regardless of what just happened, good, bad, and different, you really got to keep moving, because the next play is too damn important, right? So we make a mistake, you do something great, acknowledge it, learn from it, process it, but the next pitch is too important. And these playoff games can switch on a dime, where all of a sudden something doesn't look great and a big moment comes and you flip the script. So the biggest thing is, a lot's going to happen. There's going to be you're going to feel the butterflies. You're going to feel the adrenaline, the energy of playoff baseball, of playing in Yankee Stadium in the playoffs. And there's going to be an energy that you'll feel, acknowledge that, but also just, kind of keep the blinders on and just play the game and understand that great moments, mistakes, all of it in between is coming. And you got to keep moving on, because the next one's really important.
Right behind John.
Hey, Aaron, is DJ LeMahieu working out at all? Is he going to be an option in this series or in future series?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how the week unfolds with what he's able to do. He's had a pretty good week, I know. So we'll see what we're able to do with him.
Danny.
Aaron, any other injuries or anything else that you're looking at that maybe have popped up since the end of the season or anything?
No, I think we're in pretty good shape, other than obviously getting Cousins back, DJ going through his Riz, Nestor, obviously. So, no, nothing else overall. I think we're in a pretty good spot.
Is Nestor doing anything yet?
He's still in the no-throw portion. Doing some treatments and whatever exercise they have doing him in the training room. So, we'll see.
Max.
Do you feel like you're covered in outfield depth with the mix of Verdugo, Dominguez, and then also a Cabrera, or do you feel like you need a Grisham, another primary outfielder?
Well, I think with Grish too. Add him to the mix, and so yeah, I do feel like we're covered, and these games may unfold to where you get creative, and three guys are playing significant role as the game unfolds. So I feel like they're all in a place and ready to go and ready to really contribute.
Last one, Ron.
You've made clear since 2017 that managing in these games is different, the speed is different, the leashes are shorter. What over the 7 years did you learn that you didn't know about it when you started?
I don't know. It's tough to reflect on where I was at that point. I think the experience serves you well. But trying to make sure that, from me on down through my coaching staff and through, especially bullpen guys that were, even more ahead than we would be in a regular season game where, hey, we may have to get this guy up and get him in 2 batters. So we need guys to be a little more on the ready really early in the game too sometimes. So I think that's the biggest thing, is making sure the lines of communication are really strong.
Thank you, Aaron.